To find the exact trig values for t is equal to 3 pi over 4, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to sketch the angle 3 pi over 4. Now this is in terms of radians, and we know that because there's no degree symbol here. So we're going to start at 0. We have pi over 2, we have pi, we have 3 pi over 2, and then we have 2 pi. So to sketch the angle 3 pi over 4, well, 3/4 is in between 1/2 and 1, which means we're going to be right over here, and we are in quadrant 2. Let's sketch an angle in quadrant 2. Now, our reference angle is the shortest distance from our angle back to the x-axis, which is going to be this little arc right here. This is our reference angle. And if this angle is 3/4 of a pi, and if we want to get to 1 full pi, which is where we want to go over here to our negative x-axis side, that means that we're going to have to travel 1/4 more of a pi, because the 3/4 plus 1/4 would give us 1 full pi, or 4 pi over 4, or 1 full pi. So that's telling us that t is equal to 3 pi over 4 has a reference angle of pi over 4. Okay, so pi over 4 is associated with the ordered pair square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. And this is step 2. So step 1 is to find our reference angle, which we know is, or excuse me, step 1 is to sketch our angle, which we did. Step number 2 is to find our reference angle, and the reference angle pi over 4 is, the reference angle pi over 4 has a terminal point of square root of 2, comma square root of 2 over 2, comma square root of 2 over 2. Now step 3 says, okay, well, let's use the quadrant that we're in to determine what the signs of our terminal point are going to look like. And because we're in quadrant 2, that means that in quadrant 2, which is this quadrant over here, we're going to have negative x's and positive y's. So we have negative square root of 2 over 2 and positive square root of 2 over 2, which means if we're on the unit circle, that this angle that we just drew, this point over here on the unit circle, corresponds to the ordered pair negative square root of 2 over 2 and positive square root of 2 over 2. And we're going to use all this information that we just talked about to help us figure out each one of the trig values, and that's part 4. So let's start off. Let's find the sine of 3 pi over 4. Okay, so the sine of 3 pi over 4 is the y value of the terminal point, which is square root of 2 over 2. The cosine of 3 pi over 4 is the x value of the terminal point, which is negative square root of 2 over 2. And the tangent of an angle, in this case it's 3 pi over 4, is the y value divided by the x value. And in this case it's equal to negative 1. Any number divided by itself is 1, and a positive divided by negative is a negative. Let's do cosecant, secant, and cotangent. So for cosecant, cosecant is 1 divided by the y value, and 1 divided by the square root of 2 over 2 is the same thing as saying 2 over the square root of 2. It's the same thing as taking the reciprocal. Notice here that we have a radical in the denominator and that this is not in simplified radical form. To fix that, we're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. So in our numerator, we get 2 square root of 2. In our denominator, we get 2. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4, which simplifies down to 2. These factors of 2 can cancel. And so this cosecant of 3 pi over 4 is exactly equal to the square root of 2. Let's look for the secant of 3 pi over 4. The secant of 3 pi over 4 is 1 divided by the x value. So it's 1 divided by negative square root of 2 over 2. We're pretty much going to do the same thing that we just did before, so this is equivalent to this. Let's rationalize it. We get negative 2 square root of 2 over 2, which is equal to negative square root of 2. So the secant of 3 pi over 4 is exactly equal to negative square root of 2. Tangent of 3 pi over 4, let's find the cotangent of 3 pi over 4. Cotangent is x over y, x divided by y, and anything divided by itself is 1, and negative divided by positive is a negative. So here are 6 trig values for 3 pi over 4.